But first, let me introduce our other speaker. Our other speaker is the founder and CEO of CrowdANALYTIX, and his name is Divyab Mishra. Divyab, welcome. Tell me a little bit about CrowdANALYTIX.
So CrowdANALYTIX is a custom AI solution provider, and we have a very unique approach. We leverage a community of data scientists globally. We currently have about 25,000 data scientists on our platform, and we leverage this community to build optimized AI solutions for retailers around the world. And I'll get into the details of how we do that in just a bit.
Okay, that's cool. So I guess you'll explain the crowd part of the name, CrowdANALYTIX, in a moment.
Absolutely.
Okay, but before we get into that, I want to talk about a topic that you're not going to hear anybody else at this show talk about. In fact, you're not going to hear people talk about this topic very much at any public event.
Yeah.
We're going to take on the most dangerous topic you can possibly mention, failure. About failure and why it's so very important and relevant to artificial intelligence.
Yeah. Let me start by first explaining where AI is today, right?
Yes.
So we are not yet at a point where a generic AI algorithm can reach the precision that's needed by companies, right? So there are a lot of these product companies out there that have these proprietary AI models that are not customized to your business, that rely on certain data sets that they prescribe. And usually these algorithms are never going to reach the precisions you need. And if they don't reach those precisions, are you really going to use that tool? So what we've actually done and found a lot is not just you need customization to your business, but you need to try many different custom algorithms, compete against each other before you understand which algorithm is most precise and optimized for your requirements, right? So when we say fail, 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 and succeed, what we are talking about is you need to have a process for doing experimentation at scale rapidly so that you can get to that optimized solution which is tuned to your business. Anything that anyone else is telling you out there is should be seen with a grain of salt, but because we're just not there yet, okay, with AI solutions to have generic models that work for everyone.
So what Divya just mentioned is the one thing that I found so interesting about CrowdANALYTIX. They don't have a proprietary algorithm. They literally find a way to broker your problem to 25,000 computer scientists all over the world. And they let those scientists compete for the best way to frame up the problem and solve the problem unique to your situation. We'll come back to your process in a moment, but I think it's a really powerful concept for people to get. That you do not need to start your AI journey with somebody else's proprietary algorithm. Now, let me make sure we don't forget to include Sean-san here.
Yeah.
You launch 5 or 6 new innovations every year in your retail stores. It's an incredible pace.
Yep.
Surely some of those new innovations don't work out as planned.
Right.
How does Trial manage that? How do you deal with the prospect of failure?
Yeah, actually, our company's policy or the founders built a culture in a corporation is really admitting the failure. Like, not trying and not failing is totally not good.
Oh.
So rather say the trying and failing and again failing, but finally succeeding.
Yes.
That's a much better thing. So that's why we have, I think, a good culture to really try many things and many times, and finally succeed. Yeah.
Now, how do your customers feel about this? Because your firm has a reputation for trying many innovations. Yeah. Is that something that the customers find appealing? Do they like it?
Yeah, I think customer is really giving us opinion. Like our trial, something like a new thing is not good. Then customer would say, it's not good, I cannot use, or whatever they think about it. So we really listen to them.
Okay.
And if we can adjust it, we would do it.
Yes.
And if really it's not totally not good for the customer,
yes,
we really quit.
Okay.
Yeah. And
so the ultimate judge of success is the customer.
Right.
Let's move on to the next point because it's not just about failure. That's just the beginning, right? Plan on it. Know that that has to be a part of the process. The question is where, when, how do we anticipate it? How do we build it into our process? And for that, we have a really nice looking diagram. So we'll spend a little bit of time talking about this picture. Well, Divya, why don't you tell us a little bit about this picture because you put the picture together.
Yeah. So, one of the biggest roadblocks that we faced whenever we talk to retailers and other customers as well is there's a lot of mystery and confusion around what AI is and where do you get started. And the first thing we do, so because of that, the first thing we've decided to do is not even talk about AI. What we have is called a Discover X process. It's a 5 to 6 week exercise where we just talk about your business challenges. And we like to look at your current data sets, what kind of data you have. We explore that data for you, do a technical feasibility, and then come back to you with what kind of AI solutions can actually be achieved with the constraints that you have as a business, and hopefully give you a roadmap of how to implement that to get ROI as quickly as possible. So that's our Discover X process, without which we don't really even begin engaging. One of the outcomes of the Discover X process is, let's say we figure out that you have a lot of unstructured data, especially when it comes to product data. What we found is the data is not generally of very good quality. We, as a result, take this to the next step, which is called Data X. The whole idea here is to get your data into a format that is ready for analytics and ready for AI algorithms. Without getting that data ready, any solutions that you are going to build are not going to be very useful. So a lot of time gets spent in getting this data ready. It's not just about normalizing the data, right? We are talking about structuring data. You may have data in the form of, let's say, images of products. You may have product descriptions. You may have purchase orders scanned. All of that is data, but that data is not usable by any AI system until you convert that into structured information. So you go through that process. Sometimes that alone can be very beneficial, right? That alone can be an output that we can give. So one of our largest customers in the US, all we are doing is giving them structured data. We are currently processing about 10 million API calls from them for them every day. Once the data has been put together and we are generally happy with the quality of the data, that's when we get into working with you and building these custom AI models, whether it's for price optimization, whether it's for assortment optimization, inventory optimization. We've heard a lot about demand forecasting. One of the biggest challenges the current demand forecasting tools have is nobody is able to predict demand for a new product launch, for example. How do you do demand forecasting for a new product launch using any of the tools that you currently are probably aware of? You probably can't do that. Yeah. Our process allows us to get you to the point where you can actually forecast demand for new products. I'm just giving you one example, right? So all of these solutions can now be built, customized, proprietary to your organization and not proprietary to the vendor that's working with you. Once those algorithms have been built, we then do a field or a low-scale deployment. Like Sean-san mentioned, we would launch it in 1 or 2 stores, show you how it works, show you a lift that hopefully gives you the ROI that you're looking for, tune the algorithm further on your data, and then scale it all over. Once you scale the solution after this whole process, we then maintain it for you and provide it to you on an ongoing basis. That solution hopefully will get you the ROI and the results from an AI system that you need. So what we like to, just to summarize what I just said, what we like to say is all you need to worry about is your business problem. We take you from a business problem to an API which integrates with your systems. What happens in between, you don't really need to worry much about. And hopefully this whole AI thing shouldn't really bother you. We are trying to give you a solution to a problem that you have. Right?
Now, Sean-san, tell me about how you use this process at your company, at Trial. How did you use this process, and what problem did you solve?
Yeah, actually, we came up with an idea that utilizing the data, which is the ID post data, we have accumulated for about 10 years, and utilizing IDPOS data and with analysis and
You had
some
10 years of data.
actionable result, if we could say get the lift of the sales, lift of the profit, like performance improvement we wanted to realize.
Okay.
And we say thought of, we say searched for the method way and say, and we ourselves couldn't do it. And when Makunik company in Japan introduced DBR-san to us, and then we discussed that feasibility. And what he at first requested is just do the proof of concept, really using real data. And if the result is good, then let's say deploy that method together for the real return.
Okay.
Return means increase the sales or the profit. And I think a good thing is really on the proof of concept, good result is say actually good result came out. So
Okay.
yeah.
Now, you're a privately held company, so you are under no obligation to share real figures with us.
Yeah.
But your objective was clear. You wanted to use 10 years of data, analyze that, and then make intelligent choices about when and where you make an offer to consumers. So it's about automating the process of making an offer, a special offer to consumers.
Correct.
Was it successful? Did you consider this to be a successful?
Yeah, I think it's a successful case. We really say were pleased to know. Yeah.
Did you lift your sales and profits?
Yes. On that proof of concept, we got like 3% lift of the sales.
3% lift.
Yeah.
Great. And similar for profit too, then, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, was that done in trial stores, in your experimental stores, or have
Yes.
you now expanded it to all 280 stores?
Say we now plan to do
Okay.
that.
So you're going to do the deployment at the end.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. In the remaining time that we have, I want to talk a little bit more about other places where AI can be applied in retail now that you know this process. And my question for you, Sean-san, is where next do you think you might apply artificial intelligence?
Yeah, actually, we think we have three fields where the AI could be useful. First one is store condition check. Store condition check. Yeah, like using the camera and AI analysis of the say picture or video of the store. Something like say the out of stock detection or the planogram compliance and so on. Any kinds of condition check.
So we would anticipate when you're going to sell out something and do prescriptive, apply prescriptively the replenishment.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's one thing. And another thing is, again, it's AI-equipped cameras function, but this one is for the customer. Like we call it shopper marketing with associated with AI. And third one is something like on that video.
Yes.
Supply chain management. Total optimization, leveraging AI's power. So we think that those three fields would be suitable for us to really apply the AI technology or the AI power.
And great. Okay, so you have a clear path ahead of places where you can apply AI, and each one is a separate implementation. So it's a very clean process. That sounds great. And Divya, been a little bit of remaining time.
Yep.
Tell me, what other places can your technology be applied, your solutions?
So as I said, we've applied building custom solutions across the value chain.
Yeah.
So things like order to cash prediction is a very important. We were just talking to a Chinese supplier of milk. They're one of the biggest suppliers of milk in China. And one of the biggest problems they have is they need to predict exactly when to deliver milk to each of their 2 million retailers so that it doesn't go bad very quickly, right? So that's a very clear problem.
Okay.
We are looking at also areas around assortment planning optimization. And one of the key areas where we are seeing a lot of interest is around predicting demand for new products. That's something that I talked about earlier. It's almost impossible to do it with the existing tools. So they're just some of the areas where we are seeing a lot of traction right now.
That sounds like a really interesting question, but an entirely different discussion. One we can continue. How do you use AI to design new products? To my guests, Sean-san, Divya-san, thank you both very much for your time, and we'd be happy to continue chatting, I suppose, outside. We're out of time now.
Sure.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.